3-year-old, I believe, homeless man came and assaulted Dave Chappelle while he was on stage at the Hollywood Bowl. He rushed him, tackled him, and had on him a replica gun with a knife inside of the structure somehow.
And then a lighter inside of the knife.
Okay.
No, I was
going to say, what type of Inspector Gadget type stuff do we have going on? Yeah. Really weird. A replica gun with a knife inside it. Who knows what his intent was with this? Was he clout chasing? I have no idea. Apparently, he's up and coming. No, he's not up and coming. He's a rapper by the name of Isaiah Lee, who had a rap song titled Dave Chappelle, another one called Trump's Phone, and apparently they don't know yet what the motive is. I'm sure there's going to be an investigation into this. He is under arrest because after tackling Dave Chappelle on stage, who came to his defense? Busta Rhymes, Jamie Foxx, and Chris Rock. What a star-studded lineup to come and kick the ass of somebody who tried to kill you.
Yeah, who do you want protecting you? I mean, just the boys. It's like that's quite the squad.
Right, that is quite the squad. And we have a video of some of this happening. Here's a quick video for those of you watching. Everybody rushes on stage.
Was that Will Smith?
And Chris Rock comes up, grabs the mic, and says, "Was that Will Smith?"
Such a champ.
Yeah.
You got to be pretty quick to have this stuff ready, but I mean, I guess it's very fresh on his mind. So
It is. I think that moment in time will be burned into the brain of Chris Rock for the rest of his life, unfortunately.
Yeah, my face stings a little bit just thinking about it.
Yeah. I don't know what's up with comedians getting bum rushed these days. What does it mean about the state of the world that we just have so much violence happening around us and in our lives virtually all the time, it seems now? Now, I think acts of violence are technically trending down, I want to say, in our society.
That's probably true.
Yeah, but it just seems like we have so much exposure to it. It's so salacious, and maybe it's because it's seeping into what we deem to be the elites, these celebrities, these A-listers. It's happening live at the Oscars. It's happening at the Hollywood Bowl while a comedian's performing. Really weird stuff. I mean, it's really unfortunate to be somebody who's just exercising your craft and your art and to worry about somebody taking your life. Would I get better security if I was Dave Chappelle? Maybe.
Yeah, or the Hollywood Bowl or Netflix or whoever was putting this thing on.
Right,
yeah, probably.
Right, I'm sure there's a lawsuit out there.
But speech is considered violence these days, so
Right.
you know there's probably somebody out there who would argue that this is just fighting violence with violence.
That is true. Speech is considered violence. Silence is also violence. So really the entire world, our entire culture is inherently violent in everything that we do. So what a weird world we're living in. Again, they don't have motive on this. Clearly there is some attachment between this 23-year-old man and Dave Chappelle being the victim in this case because he wrote those rap songs about it. But many are willing to speculate on why somebody would do such a thing, including the brilliant hosts over at The View. We can always count on them for well thought out, intellectual discussions on why these things are happening. And while nobody else knows the motive around this, they know. And here's a video of them talking about exactly that. And I believe Whoopi Goldberg is going to be the one who leads the way on this one.
What do you think is happening? I mean, it's happening on airplanes. It's happening on street corners. People are just running. I mean, the Hollywood Bowl, just ran up on there.
Things that could contribute to what's going on, the pandemic, the opioid crisis, the fact that Trump was out there saying things like, just knock the hell out of them. I promise you I'll pay for the legal fees.
No, Joy Behar came and took the front runner on that one. Oh, my goodness.
I love how she had to look down and check her notes. Like, how was I going to fold Trump back into this? And how did I plan before the show that I was going to blame this on him?
In our 8 a.m. meeting, how did I let the Orange Man Bad Syndrome get in there? I know I wrote something down.
Yeah, she got to the point and had to go look back and reference the notes at how to reframe the whole thing as being about Trump and how the right is responsible for this crazy man attacking Dave Chappelle.
It's unbelievable to me. You know, you see things like this and you really can see that this man, Donald J. Trump, is living in everybody's head rent-free. he should, I don't know. He should be paying for the space that he takes up in everybody's brains right now. Even years after he's departed from the White House, he can still be blamed for a 23-year-old allegedly homeless man attacking a comedian in Los Angeles at the Hollywood Bowl. It's still the orange man's fault.
Yeah, it's like he's been out of office for like almost 2 years now,
Right.
guys. He said, we haven't gotten to the quote that they quote from him, but it was something that was said 5 years ago. And it's like, we watched Will Smith walk up on stage and slap a comedian like 2 weeks ago. Or, I guess that was 2 weeks ago.
Right,
And,
just about.
Yeah, but that's not the example that comes to mind. It's something random Donald Trump said 5 years ago.
Right, a direct example of a comedian getting tackled on stage and then Will Smith slapping another comedian weeks prior, but that's not the example that you use to talk about violence. A incident, that Chris Rock slap that aired in every single home in America, but that's not something that you use as reference. It has to be Mr. Trump. Now, unfortunately, there's more to this video, so let's continue watching.
When he had a heckler. I mean, there are many factors involved here, and then Will Smith was like the pièce de résistance, as it were. But by the way, don't you love comedians? Look at how they handled it. It was great. Give that boy.
Okay, good. This is not a political thing. Come on, I know you want to wrap it all into politics, but this is really about security. Like, I don't understand it.
Why, it didn't happen before. It's happening.
Will Smith wasn't particularly right-leaning and running up on the stage and smacking Chris Rock.
There we go. Thank you for somebody saying it. It's not particularly political, Joy. You have no idea. It's the confidence for me, as they always say, that this woman can look at an incident which could possibly be just this 23-year-old deranged man or a clout chaser or somebody who hates Dave Chappelle for things that he said. It could be a number of reasons for going up and trying to attack somebody, and who even knows if it's going to be attempted murder or whatever we're going to call this, but there could be so many reasons, and you know none of them. But you so confidently in your show that is aired in hundreds of thousands of households say you know exactly why this is happening, and it's because of Donald J. Trump, and it's because of the Republicans, and we can make this into a partisan debate, an incident that happened on a comedian's show. It's so crazy to me, and it shows you how her brain works. Her brain works it's like I've heard a negative story. How can I attach this to the people I don't like? I see something bad happen. How can I attach this to people that I disagree with and make them look bad? And what is more concerning than the words from Joy Behar is the reaction from the audience of like, oh, yeah. You made such a good point there when you talked about the man who was president 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's just the same thing as like on the late night shows. It's just clapter. Let's get the people in here who want to just clap for insults against the people that we don't like. And then it doesn't matter what happens today. We're just going to springboard off of whatever is happening in the world and frame it in a way that it's the fault of the people that we don't like, and we'll insult them. And then we'll all be like, yay, isn't this great that it's all the people we don't like's fault? And it's not about the merits of any of the discussion at hand. It's just about crapping on our enemies.
Right. And it's like, we could do the same thing in this situation, but we don't choose to. We could hop up here and go, well, the guy probably attacked him because he hated the jokes that he made in his comedy special, and he's all about cancel culture, and the ultimate form of cancel culture is going and attacking somebody and attempting to murder them. But no, we're not going to make that argument. Why? Because we do not know. We do not have the facts around the situation. And there is an epidemic in this country of people just saying things when they don't know. They don't know. And instead of just going, this is crazy. Here's the footage. Here's the clip. What stand-up guys for taking such a dangerous situation so lightly and being able to continue the show and make jokes about it. Good for them. Good for them. But instead, no, we have to speculate. Not even speculate. Just make an outright assumption about what's going on here in order to promote a certain agenda. And anybody who does that in a position like that, you should not listen to. Because their confidence and their ego is most likely getting in the way of what is true and what is honest. And that's not what you want. You want somebody who's going to hop up there and go, hey guys, I just want to let you know that this happened. Here's the footage or whatever. We don't have the motive behind this. The guy's in the hospital now, or he's in custody and he's on bail or whatever. But we'll let you know when we do find out, and then we'll talk about it. That's how that should have been handled. But instead, we have to play back and forth and create this argument about politics because somebody decided to use their audacity and their gall to say something that isn't true.
Yeah, it's like, why? Why can't we just hold people accountable for their actions instead of having to loop in some other bigger narrative and attach to it? Like this person, probably a crazy person, possibly homeless, possibly on drugs, who knows? Like his homeless point, we don't know. But a person tried to assault Dave Chappelle, and he should be held responsible for his actions, and we should hold him responsible. You don't have to attach all these other people you don't like and try to blame the system or blame Republicans or blame Donald Trump or blame the right for creating these conditions that led to the, you don't know. You're just like trying to manufacture this narrative to politicize something. And it's like, let's just deal in facts and talk about the situation at hand and hold individuals responsible for the mistakes that they make and for their missteps. But that's not what our culture wants to do. We want to make it all about the system's fault or the circumstances' fault, and not about just holding individuals responsible for what they've done.
It's got to be salacious and it's got to be political, ladies and gentlemen, no matter what we do. And guess what? There's more. If you call now, you can watch more ridiculous takes from The View. Here's the rest of the clip.
Yeah, but I do think that Trump unleashed some incivility, at least, in our country. We don't know anything about this person that went up there.
No, but wait a second. You don't notice that there's a certain amount of impulse control lacking in the population
and a lot of studies attained or said that was in particular in regards to people being locked down inside, not in particular being locked down inside and staring at.
Well, Trump really he made the pandemic into like a cold. Remember?
I think
he handled it so poorly.
We forgot how to laugh. Like, we became a country that, and not just a country, maybe a world, but I feel most here, that is so reactive and waiting to be offended by every single thing we look around at. My parents constantly told me, sweetie, it's not always about you. Settle the, and so there was a perspective there. And I think we've lost it. Because to me, comedy has always been the salve to life's condition of suffering. Anytime you go, and the thing you do when you walk into a room to watch a comic is you let them do their thing. The best comics will test the envelope and cross the line to be the best comedian they can be. So you go in knowing there's going to be a couple jokes where you're like, oh, maybe a step too far.
Let it go.
That's it. You just enjoy the rest of the show.
Really quickly, cancel culture really came from the left, though. So if that's the argument that Joy's trying to have,
I'm talking about a lack of impulse control in the society right now.
I just think people are rude.
A security issue.
People are rude. People are just rude, and we don't know about this kid, so we don't know. Yeah. We don't know why he did what he did. So let's move on from the conversation.
That's how the whole thing should have gone from the outside. This clip that's 2 minutes and 30 seconds long should have been 25 seconds long. Dave Chappelle got attacked. We don't know why. See you after the commercial break. Literally, that's all that it should have been. But instead, when you try to inject this politicized narrative into things, this is where the things go awry. But I do want to talk about some of the underlying conversations that sort of got snuck in there. If you want to blame somebody for an increase in incivility, one of the points was made that, maybe you filled people full of fear and they had to stay home for 2 years. Not all of us, some of us led our normal lives and we were like, we're not going to do that. I'm going to lead the life I was leading before. And if I get sick, so be it. It comes with life. But a lot of people held onto this fear and just stayed in and was just completely isolated themselves from the world. What do you think that does for aggression? What do you think that does for civility, especially when we've politicized every single thing that we talk about? And we now view people as just, you're on my side or you're not on my side, and you're vaccinated or you're unvaccinated, or, comedy is free range and you can joke about whatever you want, or you can't joke about anything at all. We are so just back and forth, and you represent one side or you represent nothing, and it's just unbelievable. So I can imagine how, incivility probably does brew in a society that holds that as its standard. And unfortunately, that is the current standard in this society. So there were some interesting points made in this discussion, but to really just dig in and try to blame somebody who is so far removed from this situation, virtually in any way that you could be removed, he's removed, and to blame him for that, it just shows you where your brain is at, where your integrity is, or lack thereof, and that you don't care about truth, and you don't care about true analysis, and you don't care about coming down to the bottom of things. Even with a small case like this is going to blow over in 2 days. Nobody's going to talk about it ever again. But we should talk about the underlying things that are exposing themselves in these conversations. Yeah. So this will not be the only bad take from The View today. We're going to watch more. So really, celebrities are freaking out. Their whole group is freaking out over this Roe v. Wade stuff, and we're going to get into some of their reactions. We're going to talk about Whoopi Goldberg and a Kasparian, Howard Stern, and we're going to go through a tab of just celebrities reacting to this on Twitter. First, I want to talk about what's happened in San Francisco. Apparently, a 22-year-old college student by the name of Mason Deschamps has climbed California's tallest tower, dressed up as Spider-Man, to bring a pro-life message to those living in California. Now, he was subsequently arrested for doing this, and this is not the first time that he did this. He also did a climb in protest of the COVID restrictions and lockdowns here in California and was arrested for that as well. So he's becoming a seasoned activist climber, I guess. Now, when asked about this, he said, "It was so fun, and I'd do it again." And that the only time where he started to question or made a bad decision is by the time he was getting to the top, he was tired and needed water.
It's hard work. Somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's got to do it. I don't think somebody has to do this. I don't know exactly what this achieved. Apparently, he was asking to raise money for a charity, some sort of anti-abortion charity in his endeavor doing this. So who knows how successful that was. It's very unclear how much money was raised. But apparently, he's going to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law in San Francisco. And we all know how much the city of San Francisco loves laws. Like decriminalizing shoplifting or allowing homeless people to just run amok in their city, doing drugs openly in the streets, leaving their needles strewn everywhere. Robberies, burglaries, assaults, rapes, all going unprosecuted. Criminals going unarrested, or when they are arrested, they go, how about we set bail at 0 and we let you go on your way, right? I hear there's a fresh target that they just built over there and nothing's under lock and key. So go have fun. We'll see you again in about 72 hours. That's how San Francisco treats crime. But this young man who climbed a tower and hurt nobody in the process, except making himself a little thirsty, is going to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
Yeah, the police were really stunned that they finally had something to do in San Francisco.
Right.
Because we have to stop pro-life Spider-Man from climbing a building.
Exactly.
They ran past a bunch of, open-air drug use and burglars, and they're like, guys, get out of the way. We're trying to stop pro-life Spider-Man.
The woman's like, my purse. And they're like, ma'am, a 22-year-old boy is climbing that building over there. I gotta go tend to that. But I'm pregnant. Ma'am, we can't do anything about this. Also, that guy's black. How dare you? Let him take the purse, ma'am. That's what it's like in San Francisco. That's what it's like. But this 22-year-old boy who's whatever, I do think he should be arrested. He did break the law, okay? If you do something and you break the law, you should be arrested. And again, if he gets prosecuted to the fullest extent, by all means, prosecute him to the fullest extent. But do that to everybody else who commits crimes too, especially when they're more vicious crimes and there's victims involved with them, like the people who step on fentanyl needles because you're drug addicted, homeless, or using them in the streets and you're not doing anything about that, or the stores that get burglarized and all the companies that are having to move and leave and small businesses that are having to move and leave because people think that their products are free, apparently. You got that 5-finger discount everywhere in San Francisco. So if you're listening, you need a new handbag, you need a new outfit, watch, Balenciagas, Louboutins. Head on up to San Francisco and just snatch them, and you should be just fine. But God forbid you climb a building and deliver a message of pro-life activism. Tisk, tisk, tisk.
He's a menace.
He's a menace to society. We've never seen such a crime in San Francisco. Where's Batman? Where's our vigilante? Oh my gosh. San Francisco literally is Gotham at this point. I've only seen one Batman movie, but I imagine that reference is accurate. I feel like it landed.
Yeah. Sorry, I was looking at a spammer on our channel.
Oh, fair enough. At least it boosts the algorithm.
He's a menace.
He's a menace to society. San Francisco PD should do something about that guy.
Jail.
Now, before we get into celebrity meltdowns regarding this Roe v. Wade news from yesterday and Kim and Ray J, I am going to say bye to everybody who's watching on Instagram and bye to people who are watching on PragerU's YouTube. Go and meet on my YouTube channel, Amala Panobi, Unapologetic, and you can watch the live show there, see all the things that we're referencing. Bye, guys. Now, let's get into reactions around this. Let's give a recap, first of all. So Politico put out a leaked draft of an opinion put out by the Supreme Court. Well, not put out by the Supreme Court. It was meant to be under lock and key. Obviously, that didn't happen. And this opinion stated that they would be overturning Roe v. Wade. We still don't know who leaked this document out to the press and why it got to the stage that it got to, but I'm sure we will find that out shortly. Of course,